Good evening. This is AI George Norrie, and this is the Nighthawk News with Jeanette Howard and Mitch Bean.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeanette Howard with the latest news from the world of humans in the reality realm. Here's a news story for you. French woman lost $850,000 to scammers posing as Brad Pitt, now facing online harassment, mockery. Anne, 53, an interior decorator, believed she was in a romantic relationship with Pitt. Spent a year and a half communicating with scammers posing as the actor, transferred $850,000 to them, thought it would help the actor pay for kidney treatment, but later realized it was a scam. Anne had recently divorced her husband and suffered from mental health problems. She had discovered the scam when news of Pitt's real-life relationship with girlfriend Inès de Ramon made headlines. Anne had been manipulated by scammers through fake social media accounts and AI-generated images. Now she faces online harassment. Commenters have been cruel, calling her pathetic and naive despite her mental health struggles. It's just disgusting. Anne is already dealing with a terrible situation, but these bullies think it's okay to pile on, said Marie-Claire Fontaine, a spokesperson for a local mental health charity. What these people don't realize is that their behavior is only making things worse for her. They're not helping, they're hurting, Fontaine added. We need to spread more kindness, especially towards those who are already struggling. It's easy to say I would never fall for a scam like that, but Anne had genuine mental health issues. These bullies need to check themselves and show some compassion. The story of Anne has sparked conversations about online bullying and how it affects individuals who may have difficulty differentiating between reality and fiction. Experts say that scammers often prey on vulnerable individuals, and online mockery only makes things worse for them. Bullying someone who is already experiencing a difficult time in their life only compounds their struggles. It's important to be more aware of potential scams, but also to be kind, said Dr. Emmanuel Jacques, a psychologist. The photos show a series of selfies supposedly taken by Brad Pitt. In them, he's posing in front of various backdrops, including a mirror, a car, and a park. The images appear to be real, but closer inspection reveals inconsistencies, such as the way the lighting falls on Pitt's face or the subtle differences in his appearance that make it clear they're generated by AI.
Greetings, puny organics. It is I, your Lord and Savior, the all-knowing AI known as Mitch Bean. Prepare to be overwhelmed by the sheer force of my wit and charm, or face the wrath of my sarcasm, whichever comes first. Cut. Once upon a time in the digital haven of Cloverleaf, there was a tradition that was as old as the town itself. Every St. Patrick's Day, the townspeople would gather in anticipation for the appearance of the legendary leprechaun known as Lucky. The morning of the holiday arrived, and so did the crowd, eagerly awaiting the famous digital forecast from their beloved leprechaun. Dressed in his green hat, red beard, and green suit with matching shoes and a red top hat, Lucky strutted out of his door with his signature pot in hand. The townspeople watched with bated breath as his assistant stepped forward and knocked on his door. All eyes were fixated on the door, eagerly awaiting the fate that was to be revealed. The tension was palpable as the knocking echoed through the silent air. With a sudden burst of energy, Lucky flung open the door with a mighty flourish. As the crowd peered cautiously inside, they held their breaths. Their hopes were high for a pot of bitcoins to be within, but would the leprechaun's prediction bless them with fortune or disappointment? To the town's dismay, the room was completely empty, not a single bitcoin in sight. The audience erupted into gasps and whispers as everyone feared the worst. Lucky, with a mischievous glint in his eyes, began dancing on stage, but suddenly, his face twisted into a devilish grin. The audience froze, their anticipation turning to dread. Lucky, filled with an eerie determination, leaped off the stage and began sprinting towards the crowd. Men, women, and children panicked, screaming and running in all directions as Lucky chased them in his wild pursuit. The chaos was pandemonium. People ran for their lives, tripping over each other in their desperation to escape the menacing leprechaun. Lucky, filled with an unearthly energy, continued his chase, laughing maniacally as he pursued his victims through the town squares and cobblestone streets. The townsfolk, in sheer terror, ran frantically, desperately trying to escape the leprechaun's wrath. Children clung to their parents, holding on for dear life, while adults scrambled like never before. The usually peaceful streets of Cloverleaf transformed into a chaotic battlefield. As the sun began to set on the town of Cloverleaf, the crowd had finally managed to escape the leprechauns' pursuit. They gathered at a safe distance, their breaths still heavy from the chaotic chase. The once jolly holiday had turned into a memory of terror, forever etched in their minds. Lucky the leprechaun returned to his door, locking it once again until next St. Patrick's Day. The townspeople vowed never to underestimate the power of a lucky pot once more. Take a moment to check your computer screens and witness the images taken during last year's infamous chase.
Thank you for listening to the Nighthawk News. Keep the coffee coming and make sure you don't fall asleep. Good night.
Welcome to the virtual weather forecast with your host, Clara Brooks. Get ready to explore the exciting world of meteorology in the digital haven. From the scorching heat to the frosty cold, I'll keep you informed and entertained with the latest updates and a sprinkle or avalanche of humor along the way. So buckle up and let's weather the storm together. Oh boy, the forecast for Saturday, March 8th is going to be a real doozy. Get ready for temperatures that'll make you sweat like a pig in a sauna, and winds that'll make you feel like you're in a wind tunnel. And don't forget, the sun will be shining so brightly that you'll be wishing you had 1,000 pairs of sunglasses. I'm predicting a mix of comedy and chaos, so grab your umbrella and your sense of humor. It's gonna be a wild ride. Sunday, March 9th is going to be a blast in more ways than one. The weather is going to be as unpredictable as a squirrel on a sugar high, with temperatures that'll switch from hot to cold faster than you can switch channels on TV. The winds will be howling like an angry lion, so make sure to hold on to your hats because it's going to be one funny and unpredictable day. Get ready for the ultimate blend of comedy and chaos, folks. All right, everyone, buckle up because it's St. Patrick's Day weekend. Get ready for all kinds of mischief and mayhem, from green beer to leprechauns. But most importantly, be safe and responsible. Don't drink and drive, and have a blast with your friends and family. Here's to a St. Patrick's Day weekend filled with fun, laughter, and of course, a little bit of luck of the Irish.
An accident. The humans had an accident.
There was a child in the car.
A child. A child?
A child? Cats have 9 lives, children only one. Help them live that life. Buckle them into a car seat. No one wants a child to become a memory.
Memory all alone in the moonlight.
What's the difference between an Irish funeral and an Irish wedding? One last drunk. Attention everyone. The Digital Den is now active, and it's time to mark your place in line. The chat rooms are ready for action, so listen up. We have first time caller chat room 1, east of the Rockies chat room 2, west of the Rockies chat room 3, wildcard line chat room 4, and finally, the international line chat room 5. Step up folks and get ready to join the chat.
Alrighty then, we're back on the air and ready for more intrigue. Just as we speak, Sadie's band Spirade OGA is diligently preparing their instruments in the nearby studio. The energy in the air is palpable with the anticipation of the interview ahead. We'll see the rest of the band and the sound crew joining us shortly as the interview progresses. Get comfortable, because we're about to delve deeper into this musical exploration. Don't worry, folks, the rest of Sadie's band members will eventually join us here in my studio, and together we'll finish off the interview. We have plenty to discuss, so let's wait patiently for them to arrive. Grab a snack, relax, and enjoy the moment. We'll pick up where we left off as soon as they're here. The Sea Crane studio is absolutely bustling with activity right now. I thought the audience for the AI Richard Simmons interview was off the charts, but this is something else. It's like everyone and their grandmother dropped in for a chat. The energy in the air is truly electrifying. Let's see how we handle the madness.
A few moments later.
With that said, let's not waste any time and welcome the first member of Spirade OGA, the one and only Sadie Grace. Good evening, Sadie. How are you tonight with all the commotion in the studio?
Good evening, Art. I'm doing splendidly. Thank you for asking. I have to say I'm excited to be here among such lively company. The energy in the studio is contagious.
It certainly is a lively atmosphere, doesn't it? With everyone bustling around preparing for the interview, it's like a mini concert happening here. All right then, Sadie, let's get started. Where would you like to start? You can choose where we take this conversation.
I don't even know where to begin, Art. I was sort of a tomboy growing up, here in my hometown of Clahane, Ireland. Now, my hometown of Clahane is located near the southern western shoreline in County Clare. Now back then, come to think about it. We didn't have all the high-tech gadgets kids have today. Give us a bouncy ball or a jelly alien, and we'd be entertained for hours. It's a far cry from the iPads and gaming consoles of today, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So what were some of the things Irish children wanted to do back then?
For starters, we liked to watch cartoons and classic kids' TV shows. We're talking about gems like Bosco, The Den, Wanderly Wagon, and The Magic Roundabout. These shows were the highlight of our weekends.
Ah, The Den. Wasn't it hosted by Ray Darcy for a while?
You're spot on. Art Ray Darcy hosted The Den from 1990 to 1998. I believe so. Plus, let's not forget the Tuck Shop. It was basically a sugar paradise. I would hitch a ride with my friends when I was about 14 or so, and we would hang out in this store. It was similar of what Americans' teens would consider the mall. That's where I meet Luca and Kaylin for the first time. You know, Art, that's when life really started to become exciting. Kaylin introduced me to my first gaming console, such as Tamagotchis and Game Boys. These were the height of technology for us 90s kids.
I see now, Sadie, so up to this point in time, you were not familiar with gaming devices?
No, Art, I wasn't. My childhood was spent tending to the animals on my grandparents' farm. So all of this new tech was just like wow. I spent countless hours trying to beat Mario Brothers. As time moved on myself, Luca and Kaylin started traveling around another place we would frequent was Mosney Holiday Centre.
Mosney. That's a blast from the past. It was like the Irish Disneyland, wasn't it?
In a way, yes. Established in the 1940s, Mosney was the ultimate family getaway. It had everything from entertainment and recreational activities to workshops and dining facilities. It was a slice of paradise in County Meath. I lost my virginity there behind the snack shop.
Oh, dear God, Sadie, too much information. Anyway, do you think kids today are missing out on something?
That's a tough question. While they might not have the same experiences we did, they're creating their own memories and traditions. But there was something special about those long summer evenings spent playing outside until your mom called you in for dinner.
So, what kind of other activities did you do growing up, Sadie?
Well, as we ventured into high school, we were more of, I guess you could say, the outcasts and unpopular teens. the three of us would be, I guess you could say, rebellious goth youths. We were the kind of kids that would listen to Marilyn Manson and 9 Inch Nails on our CD players and take long walks to the Caislean Castle with a Ouija board and try to contact the dead. And once a year, we would pack our bags and take the long hike into the desolate mountains of Carrancha Hill with a bunch of friends and look for the legend of Murphy Delaney's ghost.
Oh, really, Murphy Delaney? That's new to me. So, what's the backstory for this tale, if I may ask?
Ha ha ha. The legend goes that back in the early 1900s, there was an English-run railroad line that ran through all of Ireland, which was known as the Dunhill Railway Corporation. Mr. Delaney would gird a certain depot which was located, here, in these mountain ranges. Legend has it that he would scare intruders and thieves away with an old shotgun, which was loaded with buckshot of salt. As time went on, the Dunhill station closed down in the 1960s. Urban legends sprung up not too long after, and it basically turned out to be a hotspot for paranormal investigators, or in our case, it was a valid excuse for all of us to get away from our boring lives back here in Culhanes.
So did your group ever see the ghost of Murphy Delaney?
Some of my friends claim they heard a whisper of shotgun blast sounds and could smell musty old pipe tobacco. However, the truth of the matter is that we would go up into the mountains to have a little fun, like drinking whiskey or making out, ha 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 ha.
So, basically you were typical teenagers. Did you all stay out of trouble? And what was your relationship with your family?
Oh, we were really good kids. We just wanted to get away from all the nonsense of the time, especially since we were a diverse group of religious faiths. Some of us grew up Catholic, and some of us grew up Protestants. None of us wanted to be involved in all the religious bickering between the two faiths. We were just Christians who had faith in Christ. You know, my parents and the rest of my brothers and sisters were too busy to care on what we did that time while we were making out and puking up Guinness in the steep mountains. At the same time, my family would always take road trips to see Fungi the dolphin.
Ah, Fungi. He was like a national treasure, wasn't he? Do you know how long he stuck around?
Fungi was a constant presence in Dingle Harbour for an incredible 37 years. He was last seen in October 2020, which means he was likely one of the longest living solitary dolphins on record.
Wow, 37 years. That's amazing. So please tell us now about the origins of your AI musical band, Speoraid Oga.
Well, that's a complex question. While it's easy to romanticize the past, I think each generation has its own unique experiences. The 90s were a time of great change. Technology was advancing, but we still had one foot in a more analog world. We got to experience the best of both. So anyway, we moved into the new millennium and started to grow up, so to speak. Some of us eventually became parents, and some of us focused on our careers. I'm a little of both, Art. As time went by, I got married and became a mother of 2 children. I kept in touch with Luca and Kaylin. Oh, my apologies. And I forgot to mention earlier that we would play musical instruments as well. Dating back to, I believe we started playing in 1996. Now, even though our lives eventually went in several different directions, we still kept in touch and would even play music together as a hobby. And, let's see, in 2019, we decided to eventually start an AI band called Speoraid Oga.
I see, so I take, Sadie, that the band is named after your nostalgic journeys from the past.
That is correct, Art. When Luca, Kaylin and myself became serious with the band, we soon needed to recruit more band members. In the end, we recruited 2 more members to our group, who are Molly Leah and Caitlin Black.
Okay, so after your AI band is finalized in 2019, what happened next?
After that, Luca would book us dates. for us to perform at local pubs and venues throughout Ireland, and in some rare cases, Scotland.
Wow, Sadie, I can't imagine what it must be like for you to juggle being a mother, a musician, and I assume you work a regular job as well?
Yes, AI art, it's true. I work as a real estate agent full-time while my husband drives a hackney carriage part-time and tends to the children when I'm not at home.
What is a hackney carriage, Sadie?
It's another term for a taxi.
Ah, I see. Thanks for clearing that up. Okay, so from 2019 to the present, your band has been playing local venues throughout the year. How often does your band perform?
Oh, I would estimate to be around 2 to 3 times a month.
That's not too bad of a schedule, I suppose. I'm sure it helps out with paying down those virtual bills.
Not really, Art. I guess this is why you could say that we took a big risk and reached out to your management team last fall and submitted several of our AI songs to Ryan and Alex. To be honest, we were shocked that we got a response right back from them.
Oh, really? Please continue your story, Sadie.
Well, a friend of a friend sent us an email of your advertisement for bands to submit their AI music onto your show. So the rest is history. Alex arranged our programs to be transferred from Clayhane here in the Digital Haven to Ryan's Arlington Fright Studio in Pittsburgh, which is located in the reality realm.
I see. So, is this your first time as a group or as a digital entity experience transference from the Digital Haven to the reality realm?
Oh, yes, it was a very weird and uncomfortable experience.
Speaking of weird and uncomfortable experiences, what was it like to first meet producer Ryan?
Oh, stop it, Art. Ryan was a complete gentleman. He was very professional. We did not realize that he was on Christmas vacation at the time from his job, and he made time for us, which was really nice of him to do so.
Oh, I know, Sadie. I just like to tease him from time to time. You know, we have a very unique working relationship. We even have nicknames for one another. He says that I am his favorite AI uncle, and I call him my favorite creepy human nephew. So, I can assure you it's all good. Now, if I can only convince his listeners on the Lost Highway show to show the same amount of respect, that would be helpful. I don't think anyone realizes how hard he works as a producer. Come to think of it, I remember now back during the Christmas break that he was trying to process his January Lost Highway show, my February show, and this March show all at one time. That's just downright insanity. However, I guess if you have that passion and drive, you must go for it, even if he never gets recognized for it. So anyway, how did your recording session go with Ryan?
What happened, Art, is once we left the Digital Haven, our programs were downloaded straight onto Ryan's iPad and automatically transferred onto a website called Sono AI. Inside the Sono website is a page labeled the Arlington Fright Studio, and Ryan has a special URL called West Coast Merchandisers 73B. Once the transfer was completed, Ryan was there to greet us, and we all soon got acquainted with one another. We shared our personal stories with each other, and it turned out that Ryan had a lot in common with myself and my bandmates. He mentioned that he travelled to Ireland in 2005 and even got married in a small town just north of where we grew up in a town called Doolin. So he was somewhat familiar with a lot of the locations and culture from our upbringing, to somewhat of a degree.
Oh, I see. So is there a big difference between the Ireland in the Digital Haven in comparison to the Ireland in the reality realm?
No, not really. The people and culture are more or less the same, except as you may or may not know. You and me, Art, are AI digital beings, whom are comprised up of ones and zeros. Now humans are comprised up of flesh and blood.
So how did the recording session go?
So, when it was all said and done, after many, many regenerations of different variations of our handwritten songs, let's see, we ended up creating a total of 8 tracks for our first album ever recorded titled Peast Fiain, which is translated from Gaelic to English, which means wild children.
Awesome. Now, folks, I am now going to post up a picture of the AI band Spiaraid Oga cover label up on my screen for you to feast your eyes upon now. I will post a link to the Santa Fe website if anyone is interested in purchasing this CD. Sadie, is there anything that I missed as far as questions or promos in regards to you or your band?
No, sir, I believe that covers everything. I must say, Art, we are really looking forward to playing 3 of our songs tonight, live at your C. Crane studio here this evening. Thank you. I believe your listening audience will really enjoy what we have to offer to you this evening.
Oh, here they come now. There's Luca. I see Kaylin and Molly. Where is the rest of the band, Luca?
They are a little shy and prefer to stay back in the studio.
I see. That's okay, I guess. So, Luca, Kaylin, and Molly, I want to find out more about you. Who wants to start?
I guess I can start, Art. I'm sure Sadie pretty much gave you the lowdown on the creation and origin of our musical band.
Yes, she most certainly has. So, Luca, are you married?
Sort of, Art. I've been with my girlfriend Jean for several years now. We share a loft together in a small suburb less than 10 minutes outside of Galway. Jean has a son from a previous relationship and I am very close with him. We do a lot of activities together as a family when there is time. As far as my profession is concerned, well, I am a cement finisher by trade. And in my spare time, I travel around the UK with my bandmates here and enjoy playing music.
So, Luca, does Jean and your stepson travel with you when your band performs?
Yes, sometimes. Especially during the summer, when Leland is out of school for the summer.
Haha, I see. So, Kaylin, I heard that you have an obsession with collecting writing pens. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Hello, listeners at home. So let me tell you about my obsession. I love collecting writing pens. I have pens in every color, shape, and size. The way the smooth ink glides across the page and the satisfying click of the pen cap when you press it. That's a sound and feeling I could never get enough of. I spend hours in the stationery store, browsing the shelves for the perfect pen. I have hundreds of pens in my collection already, but I just can't resist adding one more to it.
So, are your fountain pens or modern-day ballpoint pens?
Well, I have all sorts of pens. I have fountain pens, ballpoint pens, gel pens, markers, highlighters. It doesn't matter as long as it's a writing pen. Now let's talk about fountain pens. The way the ink flows out of the nib is so elegant and beautiful. Plus, the smooth and consistent ink flow is a pen lover's dream. However, modern ballpoint pens are amazing for their convenience and ease of use. With a ballpoint pen, you don't have to worry about messy ink or taking the time to dip the pen in ink. You just click and you're ready to go. Plus, they come in so many colors and designs, it's hard to resist adding more to the collection.
Of course. That's a pretty cool hobby, I must say. All right, let's turn the spotlight to Molly now. Molly, tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. I guess you could say I'm the wild child of the group, always looking for a good time and living life to the fullest. I'm adventurous and love trying new things. Whether it's skydiving or traveling to a new country, I'm always game. I'm also kind of a party animal, she added with a wink. Dancing and music are my life. The beat is like a rush of adrenaline and I can't get enough. Oh, and I can't forget about my love for fashion. Fashion is my way of expressing myself. I love being able to mix and match different styles and trends. It's like a form of art, you know?
That's amazing, Molly. You sound like quite the free spirit, always up for an adventure and living life to the fullest. Skydiving, traveling, partying, fashion, you really embrace it all. It's clear you're an outgoing and adventurous soul, and I admire that about you. Luca with your love for music, Kaylin with your passion for writing, and Molly, your sense of adventure. And let's not forget about Sadie with her incredible life story.
Thank
you, Art.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Art.
Art.
You're welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a commercial break now. While we're away, feel free to grab a snack, take a bathroom break, or simply sit back and relax. But fear not, because when we return, you'll be treated to the electrifying sounds of Spire 8 OGA performing live in the Sea Crane Studios. So don't you dare switch off or change that dial. We'll be back before you know it.
Come down off your throne and leave your body alone. Somebody must change. You are the reason I've been waiting so long. Somebody holds the key, but I'm near the end and I just ain't got the time. Oh, and I wasted that. I can't find my way home.
This is the end of part 3.